Hey guys, what's up? It's Movie Buff Beth. I'm back again with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about everything that I watched in June. I know this video is pretty late. Life's been crazy the last few weeks though, and this is the first opportunity I had to make this video. I did this last month for everything that I watched in May. I received some pretty good feedback from you guys, so I thought I would do it again. Watched a little less this month, just due to life circumstances, but I still watched quite a bit. I got through 30 movies and 3 TV shows, so not too shabby, to be honest. Again, I just want to thank you guys for your support. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go through each movie that I watched, whether or not it was a first time watch, where I watched it, or how I watched it. Give you a kind of short review or just some quick thoughts. A rating, and whether or not I would recommend it to you. And then at the end of the video I'll go over the few TV shows that I watched, and I will also give you my favorite and least favorite watch of the month and my recommendation of the month to you guys. Thanks again for watching, and we'll go ahead and get started. First thing I watched this month was Mortal Engines. This one came out in 2018, I believe. I have the 4K of this title, and that's how I watched it. When this one first came out, I didn't have a ton of interest in it. However, I did enjoy it. This one was more of a watch for Andrew. He's very much into steampunk, into fantasy. Yeah, not my favorite genre to watch, but I did enjoy this one. I feel like more people probably should be talking about this one. It had some decent effects, decent performances, you know, nothing magnificent, but definitely an enjoyable film. It was pretty much a failure at the box office, so I'm sure we won't see any more from the series, but overall I'd probably give this one a 3.5 out of 5. I enjoyed it. Next one I watched was Just One of the Guys. This was a first time watch for me, and let me tell you guys, I absolutely love this film. I had never seen it before. Previously, it wasn't even on Blu-ray. I remember I picked up the Laserdisc not too long ago, and I was going to watch it that way, and then they announced they were releasing this, so I held out for this release. But this is just an awesome movie. You know, similar to She's the Man, it's based on Shakespeare's play Twelfth Night, where you have our leading character who dresses up as a boy to find some sort of success, essentially is the story. But it was really cute, really funny, just had that classic 80s feel to it. Definitely a film I could see myself revisiting quite a lot. Don't want to say too much about the plot because I don't want to spoil it. But really that's not the point of this movie. It's just a good time, a fun movie to watch. Absolutely recommend this one to you. I would give this one a 4.5 out of 5. Next one I watched this month is Buffaloed. This one stars Zoe Deutsch, who of course is the daughter of Leah Thompson and Howard Deutsch. This was an enjoyable film. I really liked seeing Zoe in more of a leading role. She definitely can carry a film. Almost everything that I've seen her in previously, she's either been a supporting character or it's just been kind of a low-key part that doesn't quite, you know, show her acting abilities. But she's great. The movie itself was all right. It had a really interesting story. They, you know, kept me engaged throughout. However, the movie is not as good as her performance. This one I would give a 3.5 out of 5. I would definitely say give it a rent. Check it out if it sounds interesting to you. Next one I watched was a Vinegar Syndrome title, and that is Party Line. This one I enjoyed quite a bit. It had been recommended to me a few times as an underrated title from Vinegar Syndrome. This one came out in 1988, has some good suspense, an interesting story. I really enjoyed the performances here as well. Just a fun, gritty film. I give this one a 4 out of 5. And I'd recommend it if you're into the kind of output that Vinegar Syndrome puts out. Next one, Andrew and I both watched together, and that is, of course, Jaws in 4K. Of course, I've seen this film before many times, grew up watching it many summers. Just a fantastic film, but the 4K transfer looks fantastic. Definitely a worthy upgrade for your collection if you guys are on the fence. And of course, this film is an easy 5 out of 5 for me. If you haven't seen Jaws, what are you doing? And then Andrew and I were still kind of in a Jaws mood. We couldn't decide between watching Jaws 2 or 3 because we actually enjoy both of those. But I had never seen Jaws the Revenge, so that's actually the one we decided to put on. I had never seen it before. Andrew had, however, and he did not speak very highly of it. He said it was quite terrible from what he remembered, but we threw it on, and we actually both enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, we went in with really low expectations, and maybe that helped. But I think we both kind of like looked at each other and were like, okay, that wasn't terrible. I think we've seen enough like terrible shark movies throughout the years that this one doesn't look quite as bad in comparison. And really, we did enjoy the story. It was fun to watch. You know, definitely nowhere near as good as the original, and not as good as the second or third one either, but an enjoyable watch for sure. I'd give this one a 3 out of 5. The next one I watched was Scream Factory's The Fan. Definitely enjoyed this one. Very underrated slasher that does not get talked about enough. Some really good tension in here, great performances. If you're looking for a new slasher, I definitely recommend checking this one out. I'd give this one a 4 out of 5. Next one I watched, and I've talked about this previously in one of our haul videos, but it's definitely worth mentioning again, and that is Rad. Absolutely love this film. I feel like this was kind of made for me. For one, I love 80s movies. I love movies that have that, you know, true 80s aesthetic, and this film does for sure. But I also grew up loving action sports, and BMX was one of the sports that I used to watch quite a bit. And this was just definitely not a letdown for me. I'd heard so many things about it over the years, but you know, it was so hard to find. You know, it skipped straight from VHS to 4K, which is insane. I'm so glad Vinegar Syndrome put this out, and on 4K no less. It was just a really enjoyable film. Unfortunately, this is sold out from Vinegar Syndrome, but if you guys really want it, you can probably track it down for a pretty penny on eBay. So this is just a fantastic, fun 80s film. This one is an easy 4 out of 5. And another Vinegar Syndrome title that I got from their sale, and that is Blood Games. Another one that I would give an easy recommend to. It's a cool backwoods exploitation thriller with some decent performances, fun kills, just a very enjoyable watch, and a beautiful slipcover from Vinegar Syndrome. Another one I'd give 4 out of 5. Next one we watched, and this is a first time watch for me, that is Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I enjoyed this one. If you're into films and you like films from the 80s, you know, it's a great throwback. Just some fun references in the movie. I think I probably would have enjoyed this one more had I seen it as a kid back in the 90s. However, I did have a fun time with it. I'd probably give this one like a 3 to a 3.5 out of 5, and I'd recommend it if you like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's definitely an enjoyable watch. Next one up, this was actually a rewatch for me, just in a slasher mood. They were doing Slasher Film Week on Instagram, so I watched Pieces. This is the release from Arrow UK. This is a very underrated slasher film. Just a great movie. Really cool kills, lots of great gore. If you're looking for another slasher to watch, I definitely recommend Pieces. This is an easy 4 out of 5 for me. And keeping with the slasher theme, we got Deadly Dreams. This one is put out by Code Red. This is one of those ones where the premise perhaps is a little bit cooler than the actual execution of the film. You know, he has all these terrible dreams where he's killing people, and you know, of course these kills are taking place in real life, and he's trying to figure out if he's the one that did it or not. You know, just a very cool premise for a slasher film, but unfortunately wasn't as executed as well as it could have been. But overall, I did enjoy it. I'd probably give this one a 3 out of 5. And we got another Vinegar Syndrome here, and that is The Severed Arm. Another one that I really enjoyed. Great tension, great performances, just an overall very enjoyable film. I'd probably give this one a 3.5 out of 5. Next up, Andrew and I watched a newer release, first time watch for both of us, and that is We Summon the Darkness. We both absolutely loved this film. Has a really cool twist near the beginning. You know, the story does not go the way you would expect it to. You've got some fantastic performances, a really cool and creepy performance from Johnny Knoxville, of all people. You know, great cinematography, a really colorful, fun film, and just a really fun, like, horror comedy-esque type film to throw on. Definitely recommend this one, another 4 out of 5 film. If you guys are looking for something new and fun to watch, definitely recommend this one. Another Vinegar Syndrome to talk about, and that is Paul Schrader's Patty Hearst. I previously talked about this one in our haul video as well. Definitely different from Vinegar Syndrome's other output, but an enjoyable film for sure, and an important film. You know, it's definitely more of an artsy take on a biographical film, but I really like Paul Schrader, and I've really been enjoying diving into his filmography. So if you're a Paul Schrader fan, I definitely recommend this one, and I give this one a 4 out of 5 as well. Real quick, you guys may notice I'm not a very harsh rater. I've always been this way. I just find enjoyment in pretty much everything I watch, really. It's rare that I just sit down and say I hated that film, I really didn't enjoy that film. And yeah, maybe that doesn't make me the best reviewer, but that's just the way I've always been. And you kind of just have to know what you're in for with that. I really do just enjoy watching movies, and I can find good in almost everything I watch. So if you're wondering why there's so many, higher ratings, that's why. Next thing I watched was Judd Apatow's The King of Staten Island. I did a review as well as a ranking of Judd Apatow's films on the channel if you guys want to check that out. Again, I'm not the world's greatest reviewer, but I do love films. I do love talking about them. And this was a great film, one that I enjoyed quite a bit. I would give this one a 4.5 out of 5. And definitely recommend you guys check this one out. I believe it's hitting Blu-ray next month in August, so well worth waiting for. The next thing we watched, a first-time watch for both Andrew and I, and that is Caddyshack. We all have those movies where we're like, why have I not watched this film yet? And this was one for the both of us. We were kind of tired after a long day, and we're like, let's watch something fun and, something that you don't have to think about too much. And I was like, how about Caddyshack? We've never seen it. And we enjoyed this one a lot, especially Rodney Dangerfield. Neither of us had really seen him in anything, and so that was a real treat to watch. And there's some fun history about this film, and how Bill Murray and Chevy Chase kind of had a feud going on. I didn't know that prior to this film, but Andrew's great at looking things up and kind of finding some history with the film, and there's some cool stuff to learn there. And yeah, this is a silly movie, but just a classic comedy. And again, this is an easy 4 out of 5. And I don't really need to recommend Caddyshack to you because you guys have probably all seen it before. Next thing I watched, another first time watch for me, and that is I Do Until I Don't. This one is directed by Lake Bell, who is one of my favorite actors as well as directors and writers. She's very talented in front of and behind the camera. She directed one of my favorite comedies of recent years, and that's In a World. And this was her follow-up to that film. Definitely not as good as In a World, but it still has that certain charm to it that Lake Bell brings to the table. You got a great cast as well. Enjoyable, not as good as In a World, kind of disappointing in that regard. However, I did enjoy it, and I would give this one a 3.5 out of 5. And I'd recommend it if you have enjoyed Lake Bell's other performances or if you enjoyed In a World. Next up, another first time watch for both Andrew and I, and that is Hysteria. This is a full moon feature. And like Last Action Hero, I would say this is probably one I would have enjoyed a lot more had I seen it when I was a child, and had that nostalgia factor for me. Unfortunately, it didn't really have that. There were some enjoyable moments, but overall, I felt like this film kind of dragged. There wasn't a lot that kept me interested, but I could definitely see people enjoying this if they watched it when they were younger. This one I'd probably give a 2.5 out of 5. Next up, this is a long overdue first time watch for me. I'm a huge David Cronenberg fan, and this is a film that has evaded me for quite some time, mostly because it was just hard to track down in the US, but thankfully Diabolic DVD put this up to order recently, and I did not hesitate at all, and that is Crash. This is a 4K media book from Germany. It has still yet to be released in the US. This is a film that you guys may or may not have heard of, kind of a controversial one, but very dark, very dreary, but it has that David Cronenberg feel to it that I enjoyed quite a lot. And I'm a huge James Spader fan, and I think he's fantastic here. If you guys want to know more about this film, go ahead and look up the plot and see if it sounds like it'd be for you. Probably not one that I would recommend to a lot of people, unless you are a David Cronenberg fan. But I did enjoy this one quite a bit, and I would give this one a 4 out of 5. And it looked really good on 4K, so happy to have picked this one up. And like I said, Andrew and I really enjoyed seeing Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack, and I had just picked this one up recently, so we decided to watch this one, and that is Back to School. This is another really fun film. I really love 80s movies that take place at college, and this one was just truly enjoyable. Rodney Dangerfield, he is just fantastic. And this one I would give a 3.5 out of 5. If you're just looking for a fun 80s watch with Rodney Dangerfield, definitely recommend this one. Next one we watched was Polaroid. This is the German Blu-ray. Don't believe it's on Blu-ray in America. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's not. This one took me by surprise. Sometimes we sit down and we put on these recent modern horror films that just look terrible and have kind of a a cheesy premise to them and we just want to have fun with them. However, this one I was pleasantly surprised by. I thought it was pretty creepy, had some cool tension. You know, it definitely relies on jump scares quite a bit, but it does have a really cool story and just a fun horror film to throw on. Definitely recommend this one if you like these kind of horror films, and I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5. As you guys may have heard in my last haul video, I kind of explained why we went on a short hiatus from YouTube. My older sister unexpectedly passed away, so I flew up to Washington to spend time with my family. And you know, in those times that are difficult, I found that, you know, there's just some movies that you can go back to that will make you laugh, that will make you smile, just absolute comfort films. And many of these next few are comfort films because, you know, I was up there in Washington with my family, and we're just, you know, trying to deal with this unexpected thing that happened in our life. And you know, movies have always been a great comfort to me, and these next few, I won't say a ton about them because you guys have probably heard of them, or you guys know them and you love them, but I wanted to go over what I watched and just some great comfort films if you guys are going through a hard time or you just want a good laugh. And the first one, of course, is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, one that I can always go back to and enjoy. Just a great John Hughes comedy classic, 4.5 out of 5. And I've gone to this movie several times since it came out. You know, it came out when I'm pretty sure when I was in high school. And you know, you have like your dumb high school things that you go through and you just need like a good comfort movie and a fun movie to watch. Or, you know, if I'm just really stressed out, I feel like this is my #1 go-to film for that, and that is Bridesmaids. If I'm going to recommend any comedy or any comfort movie that you should throw on if you're having a hard day, it'll be this one. This is a 5 out of 5 movie for me. I love this film. And you know, it has a special memory to me because I saw this in theaters with my sister Sarah, who passed away. And yeah, just a great, funny movie. Probably one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. I can watch this with my whole family. It kills all of us. It makes us laugh so much. My dad, he loves the scene where they're trying on dresses and they kind of have like bathroom accidents. He thinks it's the most hilarious thing to happen in film. So yeah, just one that I love to watch with my family, love to watch quite often. Bridesmaids. Seems like I'm getting through stuff quite a lot faster than I did last month. Sorry if I'm rushing a little bit. Just don't want to keep you guys too long. Next one is a recent favorite of mine, and that is Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird. I love this film. I love the dynamic of the mother-daughter relationship. Not a relationship that I think you see enough in film. You know, it's a complex, difficult relationship at times, and I really like the depiction in this film. Laurie Metcalf is fantastic in this movie. You also have Saoirse Ronan, Beanie Feldstein, just an all-star cast, and just a fantastic film. Very well directed, great performances. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend this film. Another 5 out of 5 film for me. Next one, this is one I wanted to show to my sister. I thought she would enjoy it, and that is Noah Baumbach's While We're Young. Really fun movie. Has kind of a different story that you haven't seen before. Ben Stiller and Naomi Watts' characters are, you know, middle-aged couple that have kind of been together a while, and they kind of reach this point in their life where they're not relating as well to their, you know, same-aged friends. You know, their friends are having babies and starting families, and they're not quite there yet. And they meet Adam Driver and Amanda Seyfried's characters, who are just kind of this carefree, kind of like a hippie couple. That just do things a lot differently than they ever have, and it kind of opens their eyes to a whole other world. And of course there's some drama that goes down there, but this is another, you know, just a feel-good, fun movie to throw on at any time. Love Noah Baumbach's films, and if you guys have never seen this one, I definitely recommend it. This one I would give a 4.5 out of 5. And then one night we wanted a fun, you know, movie to throw on with the whole family to show to my nephew, and we picked The Money Pit. This is just a classic movie with Tom Hanks and Shelley Long. You know, they are this young couple that decide to buy this house that pretty much is falling apart. Just great slapstick humor. Really fun film. 3.5 out of 5 on this one. And this one I've probably mentioned before on the channel, and I'll probably mention again because it's one of my favorite films of the last 10 years. Probably one of my favorite romantic comedies of all time, and that is Long Shot. This is the Nova Media release, I believe, from Korea. absolutely love this film. Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron have unbelievable chemistry. Like, on paper that sounds like a terrible idea and kind of an annoying, you know, shtick that they throw into romantic comedies where like the guy is, you know, not worthy of the girl kind of thing, but I don't feel like that was really at play here. They just have some true, you know, genuine chemistry that I enjoyed a lot. There's a lot of laugh out loud moments, really relatable characters, and just a lot of fun. If you guys have never seen this, I highly recommend it. This one I give a 5 out of 5. Next one we actually watched it digitally. I own it on Vudu, and it's one I had never seen before, but my sister Jenna was like, you need to watch this, and that is Fido. And she was absolutely right. I needed to watch this. A great horror comedy that takes the idea of using zombies to our benefit, kind of as our service people, as like our maids and butlers. A very enjoyable film. I would give this one a 4 out of 5 and recommend it to you if it sounds interesting. Next one we watched was Accepted. Another fun, you know, movie that doesn't require a lot of thought. One that I watched growing up quite a bit. This has Justin Long, Jonah Hill, Blake Lively. You know, it's just a crew of kids that don't get into college, and they decide, you know, why don't we just start our own school and prove to our parents that we can get into college. So yeah, it's just a silly, fun movie. I give this one a 3 out of 5, and I'd recommend it if you're just looking for a fun comedy. Next one we watched was Judd Apatow's Trainwreck, and I talk about this one quite a bit in my King of Staten Island / Judd Apatow ranked video. Really enjoyed this one. My sister had never seen it, and I was like, you gotta check this one out. It's really fun. I love Amy Schumer and Bill Hader together, which is a pretty surprising thing for this film, but very fun comedy. 4 out of 5 for sure. And then these last two I watched when I finally got home from Washington. I watched this one with Andrew. He highly recommended this stand-up comedy special to me, and that is Hassan Minhaj's Homecoming King. And I hope I said his name correctly, but very good comedy here. You know, there's a lot of cool social commentary about his life growing up in America, and just, you know, he's a hilarious guy, a very entertaining person to watch. You know, he has a show on Netflix where he kind of goes over current events and things that are going on, and yeah, he's just really fun to watch, really entertaining. I would give this one an easy 4.5 out of 5. If you're looking for some great stand-up that's smart and witty, definitely check this one out. And then the last movie that I watched in June was Pretty in Pink. Finally on Blu-ray from Paramount Presents. One of my absolute favorite films, written by John Hughes, directed by Howard Deutsch. Just an 80s classic. You got Molly Ringwald, Andrew McCarthy, James Spader, John Cryer. Just a fantastic 80s movie. Another one that I love and can throw on at any time, and I'm very happy that this is finally on Blu-ray. I give this movie an easy 4 out of 5 and definitely recommend you guys pick up this Blu-ray from Paramount Presents. So real quick, I'm going to talk about 3 TV shows that I watched in the month of June, or kind of in the end of May. First one is Upload. This is a Amazon Prime original. It's kind of a look into a technological future where you can buy your place in the afterlife. It stars Robbie Amell, who is just fantastic. It has a great supporting cast as well. It's very funny, very thought-provoking, kind of similar to The Good Place, where you think about the afterlife and some different possibilities of what it could be like. It was an easy binge. Andrew and I watched it all in one night. Highly recommend this one. Probably would give it between a 4 and 4.5 out of 5. And I believe it's already been renewed for a second season, so definitely looking forward to that. And then the next thing I watched, I'm not going to say a ton about it because I'm planning on doing a video about it in the future, but that is Love, Victor. Love, Simon was absolutely one of my favorite films of that year, and so seeing a spin-off of that world was really fun. This is a Hulu original. If you're into teen romantic comedy kind of feel, or if you enjoyed Love, Simon, I definitely recommend this. I'm planning on doing a video where I talk a little more in depth about the series. I talk about Love, Simon, and then I talk about some of my favorite book adaptations. If you guys think that that sounds interesting, let me know, and I will do that sooner rather than later. I was planning on doing it shortly after I finished watching the show, but you know, life happens and I didn't get around to it. But if you guys are on the fence about checking out the series, definitely check it out on Hulu. Another easy binge that you can watch in one afternoon. And I'd probably give this one 5 out of 5. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe 4.5 out of 5. I'll have to go back and watch it again, but I really enjoyed it. And then the last show that I watched, I actually haven't finished the second season yet. I've kind of trying to space it out because I've been enjoying it so much. And that is an A24 produced Hulu original called Rami. You guys have probably heard about this. It's gotten some awards attention in recent years, and the second season just premiered not too long ago. Another one that I've really enjoyed. So far, I'd probably give it between a 4.5 and a 5 out of 5. Just a really smart, well-written film that gives us a look into a culture that is not seen as much on television. And I definitely recommend this one to you guys. And real quick before I let you guys go, I'm going to talk about my favorite and least favorite watch of the month, as well as my recommendation of the month to you guys. We'll start with my least favorite. This should come as no surprise, Hysteria. Sorry for those of you that enjoy this film. I'm sure that this has a fan base out there, but it just wasn't for me. Again, I probably should have seen it when I was younger. Let me know if you guys disagree. I'm sure plenty of you do. And then easily my favorite watch of the month, just because it's one of my favorite recent discoveries, and I'm so glad I finally saw this film, and I can see myself going back and watching it time and time again. That is Just One of the Guys. Definitely pick up this Blu-ray if you get the chance. And then my recommendation of the month to you guys would be Rad, put out by Vinegar Syndrome. However, it is sold out, and so, you know, it's hard for me to recommend to you guys. So I'll go ahead and recommend We Summon the Darkness. Definitely one that you guys should pick up and check out if you're into this kind of film. Very fun, gory horror comedy that I highly recommend to you guys. And like I said, this one went by a lot faster than last month's. I kind of do want to try to keep it under a half an hour, 45 minutes or so, rather than like an hour-long video like I did last month. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Hit the bell to hear when we upload new videos. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Comment to let us know what you guys would like to see in the future. Forthcoming, we have our crime thriller collection video coming out. Then I'll be doing my favorite book adaptations, book to film adaptations, and our Disney collection's coming very soon. And of course, our Criterion collection sale haul is coming up as well. Thanks for watching, and we will see you guys next time.